Hi garden friends, I am here in the garden to show you our next science activity. Miss Jessica is shooting the video and I'm so lucky to have her help. Now what I need you to do is I need you to get your bag labeled number 2. Remember, if you're in Miss Jessica's class, your bag is going to be labeled 1 for this week, but everybody else you're going to get bag number 2. The supplies you'll need to do this activity that are not in your bag are a pencil or an erasable pen would probably be okay. And then you might want some colored pencils. And you're going to need a cup of water. And you only need, I say a cup of water, you only need about 1/3 of a cup of water, which I think what I have here is a whole cup of water. So you'll only need a little bit of water. And then you'll need your bag. So I'm going to take the items out of my bag and explore what I have in here. So in our science kit this week, we have this awesome chicken noodle cup. And then inside the cup, I have this really cool little disc. Now, this is a way that we were able to give you dirt or soil, but without having to give everyone really big, messy scoops of soil. They have dehydrated soil in these little discs. Now, in the little folded up envelope, I'll show you real quick what's in there, but you don't need to get yours out yet. You're going to have about 5 to 7, I might have more than that, but about 5 to 7 lettuce seeds. Okay, so we're going to prepare our
Those
soil.
seeds are so little.
They're really tiny. Lettuce seeds are super tiny.
So can I ask you a question? Are these lettuce seeds from our garden?
These are actually not from our garden. We do have a couple of lettuces out there that I could harvest seeds from, but it wasn't going to be enough of a volume for everyone to have 5 to 7 lettuce seeds. So I did go ahead and order, so everybody has the same type of seed. It's called Butter Crunch. It's sort of in between an iceberg lettuce and a romaine lettuce. So it should be a nice green leafy head of lettuce. Okay, so we have the cup, the soil disc, the seeds, and then if you're in grades 2 through 5, you're gonna have a plant growth tracking log, and TK through 1 will also have this. They're gonna be just slightly different. So that this is the TK through 1st grade one, where you have lots of space to draw pictures as you document your plant growth. The upper grades will have lines here so you can write sentences describing your plants. And then my younger students, the TK through 1st graders, have kind of an extra activity in here. And for this activity, you'll need some scissors. So if you're in TK through 1st grade and you have this handout, what you're gonna do is a sequencing activity. And you'll cut out the squares, and then on this part of the page that has the arrows, you're gonna glue these down in order that you think they'll happen. So let me tell you what the squares say. This one says, plant the seeds into some soil. Using a watering can, water the seeds. The seeds begin to sprout and grow. The plant grows and begins to shoot leaves. Further leaves develop on the plant and form a lettuce. And then after about 45 to 60 days, you can harvest the lettuce. Now the fun thing about lettuce is, once it has several leaves, you can actually use scissors and sort of give it a little haircut and eat that, and then more leaves will regrow. So you can sort of have a perpetual lettuce growing. Okay, so there's our extra sequencing activity for our younger students. Now the main science activity here is that we are going to plant and grow our own lettuce, and we're going to use this growth log to track it. So the first thing I would like you to do is write your name on your paper, right? I feel like we say that a whole lot. Write your names on your paper. Okay, so I have Miss Sandra. At some point, if you want to come back and color this lettuce, you're welcome to do that. All right. The first page, let's see if I can get my booklet to open, has step-by-step instructions for this activity. So if you watch this video and just watch and listen, and then go and do the project kind of after you've seen the video but on your own, this will have step-by-step what you should do. So you don't necessarily have to keep listening to the video while you're trying to do the activity. So for this activity, you need your soil disc, a little more than 1/3 cup of water, a cup, a spoon. Oh, I think I put a spoon here, but I'm not sure that you really need the spoon, and seeds. So step number 1 is to place the soil disc in the cup. So I've got that taken care of. Step number 2, I'm going to add 1/3 cup of water and wait for a few minutes. So I'd like to point out on our instructions, I said 3 to 5 minutes. And after I did this project on my own, it actually takes a little bit longer than that. So you probably want to, after you pour your water in, wait about 10 minutes. Hopefully your adult that's available or your older students, you can probably do this on your own. You can set a timer for 10 minutes and then go check back, because when I first pour the water in, you can see my disc is just sort of sitting there and it needs some time to absorb the water and rehydrate the soil. Okay, so then I have another one here. I'm gonna pour, I've got a little extra water in there. So I have this one that's been in water for about 10 minutes.
It like is huge now.
Right? So if you want to compare, I'm going to get my hands wet, the sizes, you can see after it absorbs the water, it's going to get a lot bigger. Now, you have some options. If you don't mind getting your hands a little bit dirty, you're welcome to tear off this little netting that is around your soil. You don't have to, but I think if you want to plant more than 1 or 2 of your seeds, it might be easier to do this. Now you can use a spoon or maybe like a chopstick or something to spread that soil out, or you can just use your fingers if you don't mind getting dirty. It's garden class, right? We don't mind. So I've added my water, I let it absorb into my soil. Then you're going to loosen the soil and you're going to place your seeds in. I'm really excited about this part.
Now, how do we know how to plant the seeds? I know that last time they made seed packets.
They did.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder how we plant these.
my seed packet right here doesn't have all the details that you would have put on your seed packet project. But the big packet that had 2,000 seeds or whatever that I ordered had all the instructions for how to grow lettuce. So lettuce is something, there's lots of varieties, but it's something that tends to like not super, super hot temperatures. So it often doesn't grow well during the heat of summer. So lettuce tends to be more of a spring and a fall item. You can grow it inside throughout the year if you have a nice sunny windowsill. And so that would be my suggestion if you would like to, since you're going to be observing the growth of your plant, it might be best to try to find a sunny location inside your house just so that it's easy to access. If you have a porch or a back patio or something that you can that you'll remember to check on it every day, that's fine too. You do want to make sure they're getting sunlight, because remember, all plants need sunlight and nutrients and water to grow. Okay, now here's my seeds. I've sprinkled them back into my hand. And however many seeds you have, you're just going to set them down in that soil. You don't really have to dig big holes for them or anything. You're just going to kind of sprinkle them in. And this is where a spoon might come in handy. I think I'm just going to use the back of my pencil so that I can make sure they're just a little bit covered in the soil. There we go. So now I have planted my seeds. So that was step number 4. Place your seeds in the soil and cover them lightly. Now, you could add a little bit more water just to add a little bit of moisture. Generally, after we plant seeds or baby plants that we call starts, we always like to water them just to give them a little bit extra moisture and give them a boost to help get established. You're going to place your cup in a sunny area, and then you're going to remember to water and observe every day. Now, if you have your soil really moist, like mine currently is, you might not need to add much water on a daily basis. So I would recommend only using like a spoon instead of a whole big cup, because if you get too much water in there, the seeds might be kind of waterlogged and not sprout for you. If it seems super wet, when you go to check on it, say the second day, it's probably fine to not water it for a day or two. Just keep an eye on how moist your soil looks. It'll look lighter in color when it's drier. Okay, so then the next really important step here, we have this sequence down here for everyone to enjoy. You're going to draw a picture of what you predict your lettuce plant will look like once the seeds grow. So you can draw a nice picture here of what you think your lettuce is going to look like. You can draw just one, or if you counted your seeds, you can draw 5 or however many seeds you planted.
Kind of like a hypothesis.
Exactly. So you're making a prediction, right? You're like, okay, so I've planted my lettuce. Is my lettuce going to be green? Is it going to be light green, dark green? Is it going to be a red lettuce or one of those that's kind of purpley? I can tell you that, they're all the same color, but you are welcome to make your predictions. So here it says day 1 today is, and I'd like you to write the date. So today is, what is today, Miss Jessica?
Today is September 3rd.
Thank you. So today is, I'm going to write it this way, 9/3/20. So that's how I'm going to write my date. If you have a different way to write your date, that's okay too. You want to make sure that when you're doing your scientific observations, you're making sure you're collecting important data like the day. And you can add the location if you want. I think most of us are all in either Cotati or Runner Park. So those are good scientific things to document. So then underneath that, you're going to also, so you've drawn a prediction of what your lettuce looks like. If you are able, particularly our older students should be able to do, 2nd through 5th graders, I think, should be able to write at least a couple of sentences. I predict that they will. And you can make predictions like, I predict they will sprout tomorrow. I predict they will sprout in 3 days. You can predict what color they will be. You can predict how big they will grow. You could predict how long it will take before you get to harvest it. So that might be 30 days, 40 days, 60 days. So you can just sort of, whatever type of predictions you want to make there about your lettuce, that's what that space is for. And then, so this is a daily project for 2 weeks. You're going to be going back to this notebook. So we've got a little bit of instruction on this page. Water your seeds a little bit every day. We talked about that. If your soil looks super wet, it's okay probably to skip a day. Document your observations, even if it's just a note that you watered and no growth has occurred. Remember that it might take 7 to 10 days before your seeds sprout. So keep watering, keep observing, and try to be patient. I know it's hard because it's so exciting to get to plant something and have it grow. So you're going to have day 2 and the date. For TK through 1st graders, this is a little checkbox. It's going to be lines for our older students, so you can write down, I watered my seeds, I observed my seeds.
So they might not water every day.
So you might not
Probably
water
not.
every day.
Yeah.
Simply because if the soil is this moist tomorrow, I'm not going to need to add water to
Exactly.
it.
I can even see water on the, kind of.
Right? It's sort
Yeah.
of pouring out.
Yeah.
So I will tell you that when I planted, are you ready for the exciting one? So I wanted to test my seeds because there's something really interesting about seed packets. It's called a germination rate. And not all seeds grow into a plant. That's their purpose, but sometimes the conditions just aren't right. It's sort of like all students are a little bit different, right? One student may have brown hair, another student is going to have blonde hair, another student's going to have red hair. And so there are lots of variations with seeds. And so not all of them are going to grow the same. And some of them may just decide, I didn't like that soil. I didn't like that water. I didn't get enough sunlight.
So they should count their seeds and then keep track of how many germinate.
That's a great idea. If you count your seeds before you plant them, and then once they do sprout, count how many sprouts you have. Then we will be able to calculate your personal germination rate. So if you had 5 seeds and only 4 of them sprouted, then you would have Miss Jessica, check my math. I think that would be a 75% germination rate.
Sounds about right.
So, let's see. I'm going to show you my project. So I
look.
planted these 7 days ago.
Oh, they are all really different. I see one tiny one that just popped up. A little one. Wow.
Isn't that so exciting?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 of them.
There's 8 of them. So I have
little
8
seeds. That's pretty
growing
good germination
in
rate.
there. Yeah, that was probably all of them. So I expect everyone should have a pretty high germination rate because these are fresh seeds.
Right.
Sometimes you can save seeds and use them a year or 2 after they were harvested, and each year they will have a lower germination rate. But these are brand new fresh seeds ready for planting in 2020, and so we should have pretty good germination rates. So this is what 7 days of growth will look like. But you can see, as Miss Jessica pointed out, there's some that are small, there's some that are pretty tall. And I have to tell you, I did not check on this every day because I left it here at school, and I'm not at school every single day. So I'm not sure, but I would guess that probably like day 3 or 4, I might have had 2 sprouts. And then on day 5, I probably had a few more. So that'll be fun for you to document. As you check every day, you may have, 2 sprouts on the first day you notice, and then more, okay? The other thing I want to mention, we're almost done, is it's going to be hard for all 8 of these lettuce plants to grow to full size in my tiny little cup. So what I would recommend is if you have lots of sprouts, if you have the chance to you could bring them to your own garden. If you have a friend's garden, somewhere you could plant them outside, it would need to be kind of a shady place. Or if your mom or dad is able to find you a pot, and it doesn't have to be fancy, it could be just like a 5-gallon bucket or any kind of slightly larger container, and get some dirt and spread them out so they have sort of room to grow. That's a great idea. If you're not able to do that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to pick probably 2 or 3 that look the healthiest, and you're going to pull all of the other ones. So you'll eliminate anything you think is kind of the weakest. Mine all look really great, so it's going to be hard to decide which ones. But I think this one's a little bit pale, so I'm going to pull that one out. And that one's a little smaller, so I'm going to pull that one out. And I think I'm going to pull this one out. And then, so now I've got 5. I'm going to maybe wait a few more days and see how those do. And as they get bigger, I will probably get it down to not more than 2 plants in this little cup if I'm not able to transfer it to a larger container.
And those are edible too. You could eat those.
That's true. I could just
could eat them right now, or put them in your salad.
Ooh, they're
Baby
actually
greens.
really fresh. That's a great idea. I wouldn't have even thought of that if you hadn't pointed it out. You could just have your little sprouts. It's very delicious. So there is our lettuce growing project. I hope you all have a lot of fun with this. Feel free to ask your adults to join you when you do the activity, or if you have younger siblings or older siblings that want to be interested, you can be the botanist, you can be the gardening expert, and teach them what you've learned in the past few years about gardening in our garden classes, and you get to be the expert at home. So, anything else, Miss Jessica, that we should add?
This is so exciting. I'm going to start mine today. Yeah.
Remember, there will be a Google form for you to fill out, answer some questions, share your ideas with me about your project, and you can upload photos if you want to upload photos, after you plant. And yeah, I would love to see pictures. Great. Thanks, garden friends. Have a great day.